Hello, storygoers, and welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Cartridge, the video game storytelling podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Eric Penrod.
And I'm your other co-host, Ryan Bauer.
Ryan, I apologize. I want to apologize to you and to all the storygoers. I'm a little sick today, so I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to use that positive energy to push through the congestion to bring to bring a normal voice to everybody. So we'll see how that goes today. And a lot has happened in the last month, but before we get into that, Ryan, how are you and what have you been playing?
I am doing pretty well. Enjoying we're starting to get some warm weather, so I'm enjoying that beautiful weather. And the weekend is always wonderful. Playing not a lot this week, but over the month of April, bits and bobs here and there. Buggos is a random game that I saw a YouTuber playing that I liked. And I played the entire thing yesterday. My partner was off painting, and it's like a 5-hour game, and you just send bugs and attack people, and it's fun. Still working my way through Tiny Tina. I also was very sick in part of April, and I was home for 4 days, not feeling great. And I downloaded Forager, which is on the Switch, which was a kind of fun, almost idle game. And then Grounded throughout the month, here and there. Haven't played recently, though. And then Universal Paperclips, which is a mobile game where you just make paperclips until you eventually consume all matter in the universe and convert it into paperclips. It's very fun. It's almost like Cookie Clicker, where, so you start off by, hitting a button to buy paperclips, then you get a machine that auto-buys paperclips and auto-buys wire, and then over time you consume all matter on the earth and then consume all matter in the universe. It's very fun and weird. I've beat it.
Very niche.
Yeah, every time you beat it, you unlock an artifact that makes it easier to beat it the next time. It's something, I've never been a big mobile game person, but it's nice to have something that oh man, I kind of want to play something, but I'm already in bed and the Switch is downstairs. Let me just buy paperclips for a half hour. So yeah, that's all the things I've been playing. Eric, how are you, and what have you been playing?
I'm okay. I'm sick. After 2.5 years, I think, something like that, just about. I finally got COVID, so it was it was it's hard. I really took a lot of pride in not having gotten it for so long. It was almost like a record for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, sometimes things happen and you get sick and. So I'm just getting through that. I've had a lot of sick soup these last 2 days, which is always great, which it probably means nothing to anybody, but it's fantastic. It's just literally just broth and noodles, but man, it just hits the spot sometimes. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot has happened, but we'll kind of get into that as an explanation of where we've been the last month. But for what I've been playing, actually I haven't played a whole lot. It's been a crazy past month, but I have just started yesterday playing Tunic. And I played for about an hour, and I really liked it a lot. It's really cute, a lot of fun. I love the instructional booklet, design of it is so cool. I love it. So I'm very excited to see where that goes. I'm hoping that's a smaller game. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't on my list, but I played it this month as well, and I think you're really gonna like it. But it is a smaller experience. Yeah.
I kind of want that, honestly. I kind of need that smaller experience that's just cute and fun, and it seems like it can be a challenge, though.
Yeah.
Trying to dodge, and so I'm very excited. And it kind of scratches that Zelda itch, obviously. It's very Zelda-influenced, which is great, which is really cool. So, yeah, I love it. I can't wait to play more. But Ryan, we've been gone for about a month now, and I would like to say, I know you probably won't agree with me, but I would like to take the brunt of that blame.
Yeah, I don't agree, but
yeah, I feel a lot happened over the last month. I started a new job. I was trying to transition out of my old job. It was a lot of stress, so that kind of kicked off our missing a few episodes, and then from there, it was just a lot of things going on that just made it hard, and we could have done better being transparent about that on social media, but at the same time it was just really hard to keep up. So I felt, and tell me what you think, Ryan, it was better to just kind of drop the expectation, and kind of just focus on ourselves. So granted, I'm sick right now, which sucks, which is kind of counterintuitive, but whatever. I also really miss recording these episodes, so
yeah.
But hopefully this isn't too bad to listen to. But we're hopefully back on track. Fingers crossed. In my spare time, I'm trying to write. Now that I'm at a new job, it's just my new job. I'm working a lot less hours. I'm trying to use that time to write stories and take my time with it. So I'm hoping that'll be helpful moving forward. So Yeah. As always, storygoers, we hope you enjoyed our last episode in our last DLC episode, which is our picnic dilemma, which is awesome. I can't wait to do another one of those. Mm-hmm. Such a good story. It was such a good DLC episode. It was a lot of fun. It's something I don't think anyone else has done on a podcast. I mean, I would be really surprised if anyone else is weird enough to pick that, but you never know. But of course, storygoers, if you would like to send your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives to us, you can send them to our Gmail account at talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All of the E's are 3's. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter, even though we don't use Twitter as much as we probably should. Sorry, Elon, I don't really care about you. And we will happily read those perspectives on the show. You'll also earn yourself a cool Tales from the Cartridge sticker if you're interested in that, which is super cool. You can put it on all your favorite things. Put it on your water bottles, your computers, your kids, anything you want it. Just put the Tales from the Cartridge sticker on it. It's great.
Very strong adhesive. It'll stick to anything.
Anything. Your kids will try to pull it off. Impossible. You're branded forever, kid. Hope you like the podcast. If not, it's awkward. So, well, Ryan, we have a fun episode, a fun DLC episode to get us back in the groove of things. You want to tell the storygoers what today's episode's all about?
Yeah, this episode is all about pets. Pets in games, the best pets in games, both mechanically and narratively. And we'll probably talk a little bit about why it's important that pets are in games and why we love them. And yeah, it's all about pets. We've been wanting to do this episode for a while, and we've finally decided to jump in and give it a go. So we have we each have 3 animals that we've brought, 3 pets from different games. Unknowns to us, we picked like 3 very similar pets. 3 similar categories, so that'll be really fun to compare and contrast those things, because I think in some games they serve the same purpose, in some games they serve a completely different purpose. So I think that'll be really cool to check out. So we're talking all about those good pets, and Eric and I are both ourselves pet havers and pet lovers. So I think it's a good topic.
100%, yes. Like I think it's one of the best things about video games is that it helps you to connect with things that you never would actually have connected with in the real world, in a sense. Like, for someone who may not think they love horses, they can connect with the idea of what a horse is, besides having to go out and actually ride one. Because I myself am terrified of horses in the real world, but there are plenty of video games horses that I would say I love. Like, they're great. They're fantastic. Yeah. Which may sound really lame in retrospect, but I don't care. I'm sick. You can't judge me for anything I say right now. So I have the brain fog or whatever it's called. So... I think that this is going to be a really fun topic to get us back into the groove of things, and I think that everyone can relate in a sense. Even if you don't like a specific animal, Ryan's right. We kind of both picked 3 different kinds of animals, ironically enough, that hopefully we kind of hit that niche for you, and that,
something for everybody.
Relatability. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ryan, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I would love to. So my first pet is kind of an obvious one. I think all of mine are actually kind of obvious ones, but that's okay. Dog meat from Fallout 4? Was it Fallout 4 that had dog meat? I think it was.
Yes.
Fallout 4. Which I remember when they were first marketing that game, the fact that dog meat was in it was a huge part of it. And it's one of the very first, specifically dog companions in a game that felt like really core to the mechanics of the game. You could have builds, and my very first build was all about the dog. Like, there's a man's best friend perk that you could take to make the dog stronger, and you could do a lot with it. And then also on top of that, I think we're gonna see this kind of throughout. I think all of these pets is Fallout itself, that world that you're in, is kind of dark and grim and miserable, intentionally so. And having this one being with you who will fight anyone for you and will be happy just to have you talk to them and pet them and will go off and find things and bring them back to you. That companion made that experience better, and you were closer to that companion because of the world around you is so dark and grim, where you'd walk into a place and everyone's trying to steal from you or kill you. You have this pet who, no matter what, is gonna help you out. It's kind of like amplifying what a dog does normally, because obviously this is a more intense situation. I think dog meat is a great example of how pets in games can both narratively be really helpful for characterization and mechanically can be very fun.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry, I had an epiphany of another character I could have used, but I'm going to stick to our what we have going on.
Okay.
But going back to what you were saying, Dogmeat was one of those characters where, like, I remember when Fallout 4 was announced, and I was really excited for it because I loved Fallout 3. It was, I mean, everybody loved Fallout 3 when it first came out. It was huge. But my first fear was like, oh my god, can Dogmeat die? Like, because I can't play Dogmeat with Dogmeat if he can die. That would huge bummer. And I mean, and granted, he can't die. At least if I'm remembering.
He goes down and then he just gets back up. Yeah.
Right. But like, it's just so cool that you didn't have to deal with. There's just so many characters, and especially in Fallout, where they're just kind of annoying. Like, you don't want a companion. It's like, oh, I'd rather just do this on my own, not have to deal with this. But Dogmeat was the special exception. Like, I would always take Dogmeat. He's an easy companion to have, never annoying. Like, he was just there and reliable, and like, it's just so good. I love Dogmeat. I think one of the best parts of Fallout 4. I didn't really connect to Fallout 4 too much. I beat it, but I didn't love it. But Dogmeat was definitely one of my favorite parts of that game, for sure. Yeah. All right, so going off on the dog route for me, I actually played this for about a half hour yesterday, waiting for Tunic to finish. But I'm referencing the game Hades, a fantastic game, because it has a fantastic dog that we all know and love if you play the game, and that's Cerberus. Cerberus is just such a good dog in that game. Let's be real here. 3 heads. It's better than 1. He's kind. He's loving. I love that for Cerberus. Like, I remember, so spoiler alert. We should probably done a spoiler alert in the beginning of this, but there's going to be spoilers for these games. So just heads up. But if you haven't played Hades, skip ahead. But I remember getting to the last stage of Hades. Actually, Ryan, have you played Hades? I forget.
Yeah. Oh, a whole bunch.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Get to that last, like set of stages, like the fourth world, where Cerberus guards the door, and I remember thinking to myself, oh my god, they're gonna make me fight Cerberus. Like, this sucks. Like, I love Cerberus. But then come to find that you're just finding him this awful sack of food to eat, of meat to eat, for him to move out of your way. And like, what a relief it was. Like, as much as you barely interact with Cerberus, or like, you really choose how much you want to interact with Cerberus, like, it's the fact that this dog, who, at least from your initial interaction with him, kind of, the narrator states, like, really cares about Zagreus and has a lot of mixed emotions on Zagreus leaving, and you can hear Zagreus being like, oh, I would take you if I could, boy, I would. So they have a deep bond. So it was that sense of relief that came to me, at least, that like, oh my god, thank god I don't have to fight Cerberus. That would have been a huge bummer. Like, just an absolute bummer. That would have sucked. He's just such a good boy. Like, he's such a good boy, and he cares so much. And I love that every character, it seems like, not every character, but a lot of the characters in the game make references to Cerberus and how good of a boy he is. And I think that's such a cool thing. I love it.
Yeah, it's such a wholesome experience. I mean, and like, every interaction in that game is really wonderful, but then you have this really wonderful, which again is like this subverting expectations of what's cool about Hades, and one of the cool things it's doing is that it's pulling on our knowledge of Greek mythology, as Cerberus is a scary guardian of the underworld, but to Zagreus and to this family, he's just their pet who everybody loves and cares for, and I'm sure he can be vicious and dangerous. We don't ever see that side of him, but characters do reference being scared of him, and it's such a cool subverting our expectations and just allowing us to interact and engage with this incredible being in mythology, but in a really interesting and wonderful way. And you can like spend in-game currency to buy him better beds and better toys.
Yeah,
and of course you're going to, because it's so worth it. But yeah, it's really wonderful.
Oh, Hades is a special game. For that half hour I was playing yesterday, I was like, this, I could just totally see myself just throwing everything away and playing Hades again, because it is such a special game. So good. Ryan, what is your next pet?
Yeah, my next pet is Roach from Witcher 3 in our horse series. So one of the reasons I love Roach, there are a lot of really great horses in games, and I think Eric has one as well that is really special to him. There are a lot of really great horses in games. The reason I love Roach is Geralt is such like a gruff, like short, angry, stoic character. And Roach provides this like really good humanization of Geralt, because Geralt cares for Roach and takes care of Roach. And like, as they're riding these places, is like constantly talking to Roach, or when there's monsters around, he tries to calm them down. And like, they have this really incredible relationship that is really important to that world and helps humanize Geralt in some really great ways. And then mechanically, The Witcher 3, which is the game where I kind of I most connect Roach with, is this like massive world with tons to see and do, and the only way you can feasibly get to all these things is to take Roach there and have Roach be part of that experience. So you're really connecting with Roach as part of that journey, because there's so many things when you're exploring the world of Witcher 3 that you're running into or being attacked by or engaging with, and Roach is how you get to all these places. So mechanically you connect with Roach. Anytime you want to go somewhere, you call, Roach appears, and then you go off. But at the same time, narratively, Geralt cares a lot for Roach, and it really helps kind of show that Geralt can care for things and wants to take care of other beings in a way that you don't really see until like later with Ciri and Yennefer and Triss and all those types of things. But yeah, I like Roach a whole lot. And of course, the internet like exploded with memes of Roach like standing on buildings and doing all kinds of weird stuff that was very fun as well.
That's awesome. I think what's great about Roach is that it offers Geralt, and I think you may have just said this already, so I apologize if I'm restating what you're saying, but I love that Geralt can be himself with Roach. I think Geralt struggles with the idea that he's half of this monster that people can't accept him, but Roach always accepts Geralt. Geralt can just be himself with Roach. And granted, Roach may not understand anything that Geralt is saying, but Geralt does trust in and get a lot of support from Roach. He is a loyal companion to him. And you can feel that and that dynamic and how important that is to Geralt. And again, humanizes this Witcher whom everybody feels is a monster. So, yeah. Roach is... And what a cool name. Like, yeah. You would think that's an awful name, but I love the name Roach for him. He's just so cool. I love it. Actually, is Roach a female? No, I don't know. Hold on.
I have no idea.
Hold on, everybody.
Female in games, and male in Witcher 3.
Oh.
Only.
Only, okay.
Traditionally a female, in this one specific situation, a male.
Huh. I wonder why they went with that approach.
I don't know.
That's interesting. All right, well, now we know. I mean, I guess we're referring to the male version, right? Because we're talking about The Witcher 3.
Yeah,
so,
I guess that's my main interaction with... Yeah.
Yeah. Go figure. I wonder why CD Projekt Red went with that decision. That's interesting.
They had already had the voice actor use male pronouns for all of the voice acting, and they didn't want to do that, maybe. Who knows?
They were recording like, oh, wait, crap. He said he the whole time? All right, well, you know what you need to do. In the same vein as Roach, right? For my horse that I picked this today, easy one. Everyone already sees it coming, I'm sure. If you listen to Tales, you know. Epona is a hands down classic video game horse. Like, Epona was like the first. So if you don't know, Epona is the horse from The Legend of Zelda that Link rides. Epona is like the first horse that like I ever like rode in a video game. Like I played like, you know, Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing, and those are like racing games, are fine. But there's something about being on Epona and just riding through Hyrule and how satisfying that was. Like you didn't have to spin, or you didn't have to roll across Hyrule like a freak in order to get there faster. You know what I mean? Even though I don't think you actually were faster, I think it was what it came down to. But you know, with Epona, it gave you this access to this freedom as adult Link that you can gain from riding throughout Hyrule. And spoiler alert again for this amazing game for Ocarina of Time. You know, when you get Epona, you're essentially locked you're locked in Lon Lon Ranch and told you can't leave. So Link just jumps the fence with Epona and escapes. And there's just kind of this grand, like, connection. Like, no one else, and they mention it in game, no one else has connected with Epona. Epona's always rejected all of the riders, but until Link comes and it's an instant bond. So, like, it's almost like Link was always destined to be with Epona, and it's just really cool. And I love that, like, they take that dynamic, they take that relationship, and then they use it in an amazing way in Majora's Mask. And I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but like in the beginning of the game, again, spoilers for Majora's Mask, when you essentially fall into this great pit that takes you to Termina, the setting of the game, the Skull Kid makes mention and says, quote, don't worry, I did you a favor and got rid of it. It being Epona, which causes you to be like, what? Like, you just killed my horse? Like, it makes you like really worry about this horse that you've had this connection with since the last game. And between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, it came out a year apart. So this relationship's pretty, like, I mean, call it what it is, but like it's kind of fresh still, right? So like you still care about this animal that you essentially were riding in the past game just a year ago. But then of course, again, they do a great job at setting up that you find Epona later on in Majora's Mask, safe and sound at Lon Lon Ranch, which begs the question why the skull kid said it's a whole thing that like is never really explained very well. Like, I don't know if it's a whole thing. But regardless, they did a great job trying to like kind of set the tone for the game, being like, I got rid of your horse, and it's like, wow, dude, this just feels awful. And then you get transported into a Deku Scrub, and it's like, this is just getting, it really sets you in this kind of pit of despair that you have to climb out of until the end of the game. So really cool. Epana's fantastic. One of those video game horses that like you could just always like, you'd always just like know that it was one of your favorites growing up as a kid. So a lot of nostalgia there. I rambled a whole lot.
That's okay. I mean, I think what's great about Epona, and I think speaks to the Legend of Zelda games themselves, because they were like, again, memory, they were like the first real like open world experiences where you could go to these places, and probably one of the first games where then like walking didn't make sense. Like mechanically walking from Hyrule Castle to other places was long and not fun, and they solved that by adding a horse companion in a way that both like narratively is interesting, but mechanically like it's not fun. I mean, it is fun, but it's less fun to like slowly move from place to place. You're losing a lot of time versus riding a horse, which, like you said, feels freeing and powerful and different and exciting in a way that is really cool. So I think certainly, if not the first, one of the first like companion like horse creatures you could ride in a video game, and it had a big impact, I think, on a lot of folks.
Yeah, and I honestly think I would say that, and I could be totally wrong here, but I would want to bet that Ocarina of Time was really the first that did that, And look how far that's gone. Like video game riding, horseback riding in video games is huge now. It's in so many games, and I would like to think that Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time really deserves the credit in kind of setting the bar. I mean, just look at it in Breath of the Wild and how much better it's gotten there. Like it's just a lot of fun to like just how they've incorporated into games and just improved upon it every time, and just different creatures now and different like it's just really cool. So it's just crazy how far things have come.
Yeah, I mean, even like the biggest release of this year, Elden Ring, one of the core features of that game that everyone loves is that you can summon a horse anytime you want, because that wasn't in the older games, and that changes that game so much. And it's because like you have an open world, you have to move around faster. What makes sense? A horse, because that's what traditionally people have used, and that horse people like love and care about and is important to the game. But again, I think that you could draw a line directly to Ocarina of Time from that.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's really cool. Not to go off on a tangent, I was going to ask you about this, Ryan. Totally off topic, really fast, until we get to our last. Have you heard about? So neither of us have played Elden Ring,
nope.
Right?
Right.
Have you heard about this person? This person online called Let Me Solo Her? Have you heard about this person?
No, I haven't.
So spoiler alert for Elden Ring, just in case you want any information. So the I don't know really anything about the game, but I know the last boss of the game is a female. I think her name is like Melina, maybe, or something like that, something with an M. And she's very, very hard. And there's a person online that his new name is Let Me Solo Her, who has a paw on his head, two like katanas, and just naked. Yeah, and people will just ask him to join their game, and he will just solo the boss for them. And like, there's been memes and like, just so many things have come out. People have made like 3D figures of him or them. I mean, it's just been so funny, and like, it makes me. I don't like Souls games. Essentially, I tried Sekiro, and I just did awful. I ended up not beating it. It felt like a stain on my tally of video games. You know what I mean? But when I read that, I was like, oh my god, I want to play Elden Ring so bad now, because that's just so funny. How funny that is, and how deep everyone loves this game. Everyone's calling it a game of the year. Anyway, not to go off on a whole tangent. I just thought it was so funny. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but
no,
the memes are everywhere.
I think I've seen some memes about it and didn't make the connection. I don't know where. I think I've seen the person with the potted head and two swords and something. I don't know where I saw it, but that image is familiar, but I don't remember where it was or what it was referencing, and now I do. So thank you for sharing.
Oh yeah, I just think for a game I don't play, I just thought it was so funny. This person just takes time out of their day to help other people by soloing this last boss. That's just hilarious to me.
It's very good. Yeah.
Anyway, enough with that. We gotta get back to the pets.
Pets. Eric, we've covered dogs. We've covered horses.
Yes.
What pet is left? Birds, of
What?
course.
Birds, yes.
Yeah,
100% birds, yes.
There's nothing we're missing. There's no animal
Yeah.
we're leaving out here. We've got them all. Dogs, horses, birds. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You thought we were going to do Yoshi, you were wrong. You thought we were going to do some kind of Pokemon, you're wrong. We're going birds.
Birds. Everybody loves birds.
Everybody loves birds.
My bird pet is a group of 3. They're all kind of the same. They serve the same purpose, although narratively they're different. I'll probably speak on one more than the other 2, but just to cover all my bases. We have Sinin, Ikaros, and Senu from the Assassin's Creed games. So you have in Origins, you have Senu, Ikaros in Odyssey, and then Sinin in Valhalla. These are the 3 bird companions. Senu, I do not know it. I want to say Senu is a kind of eagle. Ikaros is a golden eagle, and Sinin is a crow or a raven. These are your 3 bird companions in these games. Similar to all the other animal companions we've talked about, they help humanize and give someone to talk to throughout these games. They're these specifically, Sinin is the one I'm most familiar with, as I've played the most recently. In Valhalla, Eivor is constantly talking to Sinin. Sinin provides a lot of help mechanically by flying over areas, and you can see things. Sinin isn't as useful as Ikaros. In Odyssey, Ikaros was like a drone effectively, and could identify every single enemy on the map and ping them all at once. So you, before you went into a fortress, you would know where every single enemy is, and you could just go in. Sinin can kind of do it, but it's not as intense, where, in Odyssey, you saw the red outline, and you could see through walls. And with Sinin's, there's just, a marking, which some people didn't like, but I think Ikaros made the game very, very easy, and I think it was a good change. And then, from a narrative standpoint, all of these birds are very important to these characters. And important to the lore of the game, where as an eagle, eagles are very important to the Assassin's Creed games for a lot of different reasons, and they've been that language has been used throughout them. Sinin as a raven, there's been multiple times as you're playing that game where people will kind of be put off by you or not interested in you, and then Sinin comes down and woos them or wins them over just by the fact that you have this incredible bird that you're friendly to. So there are these druids you meet who are you can't come in, we're not interested in seeing you. Sinin arrives oh, you have an animal companion, you must have a connection to nature. Please, let's talk more about it. And then there are other things where Sinin is just really important as a character to Eivor, and is constantly in the world and catching animals and catching bugs and catching all kinds of creatures to help you craft things. All 3 of these companions serve a really important purpose, is for mechanically. Narratively, it's Senu I don't think was as narratively important as Sinin is, just because, for narrative reasons I don't want to spoil, Sinin is an important companion as a raven, connected to Eivor and Eivor's story, and are really in giving away some things that if you had the information would make a lot of sense. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a really important connection there that is rooted in mythology and lore that's really cool. And there's a reason why you have Sinin, and there's a reason why Sinin is as connected to you as they are. That's really cool and interesting, and helps kind of bring everything together in a really cool way. Really great birds. 3 great birds do a lot of cool things. They kill stuff, they find stuff, and they help you a whole bunch. They're really great. Birds are great.
Flapping away.
So
cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, well, speaking of birds, Ryan, I'm ready to tell you what my bird I just picked.
I can't wait to hear this bird.
I totally forgot about this bird. I don't know if you can really call it a bird. It's more of a monster, but whatever. It has wings. But the one I picked was Bloodwing from the Borderlands series. And it kind of goes back to the Epona thing. In Borderlands 1, Bloodwing was Mordecai's, right-hand man, essentially, right? You had this connection with it. It fought for you. It would do attacks for you, so you can kind of, you feel like you had this really, supportive pet, right? And so that was really cool. And Mordecai, I think, was one of the most popular ones in Borderlands 1, if I remember correctly. Or at least that's what I thought. But then in Borderlands 2, as you're playing different characters, and you're introduced again to Mordecai and Bloodwing. Bloodwing gets kidnapped by, spoilers alert, by the way, kidnapped by Handsome Jack. And then, long story short, does experiments on it and causes it to lose control and become this just giant monster trying to kill everybody. And what's even worse is that you hear Mordecai's anger and frustration and sadness through the comm link. He's swearing to kill Jack, and he's trying to save Bloodwing, but it's just gone too far. And so again, kind of like what I said about Epona and Legend of Zelda, between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, in Borderlands 1 and 2, they take this animal, which I think if it's a person, it's one thing, but animals, like, there's something about humans where, like, we connect a lot of emotions to animals, so when we lose that animal, it really hurts a lot. And I think Borderlands does a great job of that, where it took Bloodwing, this cool creature that a lot of people really enjoyed playing with in Borderlands 1, and then forced you to kill it, right? To essentially kill it, which one really motivates the player to want to continue forward and defeat Handsome Jack, and two, really sets up Handsome Jack as this awful, vile villain who really has no remorse or empathy towards anybody but himself. So it just really, I don't know. It's sad. It was, because Bloodwing is a really cool character, and like we actually realized before we recorded this that in the series from the lead writer, they confirmed that Bloodwing is a species of, well, I don't know if it's a bird or not, but that shifts genders or sexes. I mean, halfway through its lifespan. So it was a male, then converted to a female, which then is kind of the silver lining in the game, because then I think it gives birth to a new bird that Mordecai uses named Talon. So it kind of like all comes together full circle. But like the game, I mean, Borderlands 2 does a great job kind of really bending your heartstrings a lot in different ways with different characters. But I think Bloodwing is that first hit in the gut where you're like, man, this could be a really hard game to play, because I loved Borderlands 1, like. It's really sad. I think Mordecai's screams and cries and pleads really hits it home that this is not going to just be a happy-go-lucky fun time.
Yeah, I think anytime a game uses your feelings towards the characters against you, it makes there be so much. It adds so much tension and drama to the experience, and it lets you know, like, we're not going to be playing around. Like, there are stakes here. It's important. Things happen. People can die that are important. So we have to make sure you're fighting strong. You have to make sure you're doing the right thing, or else the narrative will take you there. It's a little bit strange in games because there is like a linear experience, specifically with Borderlands. There's no way not to experience that, but it adds so much narrative punch to that, and it really kind of means that Mordecai, no matter what, is going to try and fight Handsome Jack, is going to sacrifice, do whatever he has to do to take down Handsome Jack because of what happened. It's very good. Borderlands 2, still a game that, I constantly think about as has such great narrative. It's such a good story. It hits so many story beats so well. Man, very good game.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, we can totally do a deep dive on Borderlands 2 sometime, because yeah. I think that's a really special game for a whole different set of reasons than any other game, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That game does such a good job with so many things. But yeah, no, Bloodwing, great character, a character you really confide in because you fight with him, but then have to fight her. Yeah, I'm saying that right, yeah.
Yeah.
Later on, it just breaks your heart. Again, there's a lot of love there between Bloodwing and Mordecai. So just, yeah, it sucks, but... Not to leave this off on a sad note, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
we had a lot of good animals here. Actually, so when you were reading off, when we were talking about dog meat earlier, Ryan, I had the thought of the chows in Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
Yeah.
Did you ever play that?
Yeah, with the Chow Garden? Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, with the Chow Garden. Yep. I had that thought, and like, I don't know if I'm storygoers. I would love to hear your perspectives. If we ever do another episode like this, I'm sure I'll bring it up again. But like, I didn't know how to turn them evil besides taking them like a sadistic person and chucking them against the wall and just making them really sad. Like, I think that was the only way I knew how to do it. Like, I just didn't know how else to make them evil. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. How did you do it, Ryan? Because I don't know.
I do not remember. I do know there is another way, because we had I don't know if you remember this, Eric. We had this conversation with our friend Jesse of our Baldur's Gate fame. He had the same issue where that's what he thought he had to do. There is something else you can do. There's something you can give them that makes them evil instead, or not give them. I have no memory of what it is, but I knew there would do those another way, because Jesse, like you, did the exact same thing, was just throwing them against the wall until somebody helped him out and said, hey, there's another way. A friend of ours, or a brother of a friend of our's, and also a friend of ours helped everyone out. But yeah. It's
funny. I feel like I was the best pet owner and the worst pet owner at the same time with that game. So, but anyway. Well, Excuse me. Well, storygoers, hopefully you are doing well. Better than I am right now. Hope you're not sick.
Yeah.
If you are, take care of yourself. If you're not sick, then continue to take care of yourself, please. Send us your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives on your favorite pets in video games to talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All the E's are 3's. Send us a message on Instagram or Twitter or comment on our post. Let us know what your favorite pets are, and we will read them on the show. Ryan, I think my throat's going to burst out of my body. So I'm going to stop talking now, but I'm glad you're doing well. And I'm glad we're kind of getting back in the groove of things again.
Yeah, me too.
It's good
I'm
to be
excited.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you, Ryan. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. And storygoers, we will see you in the next episode. Bye.